It's 100% free and just allows our videos to show up on your feed more often.
Gurren would never forget his first battle against the humans, his first failure. No matter how many engagements he faced, how many victories he won, that day still haunted his dreams. He'd wake drenched in sweat, pulse pounding, the sounds of screams and thunder still echoing in his ears. The alarm had pierced Gurren's meditation like a blade through flesh. His eyes snapped open, grunting in irritation as the shrill tone reverberated through the Gadoon hangar. Around him, the other pilots were gearing up and sprinting for their machines, booted feet pounding on the metal deck plating. Gurren was a Zephon. Like the humans, he was a two-armed biped. He had gray skin and long silver hair. Gurren was tall and fit, with piercing gold eyes and a perpetually serious expression. He wore a sleek black flight suit. The suit's only adornments were a silver insignia denoting his rank and a gold emblem that marked him as a Gadoon combat ace. "All units, this is Commander Zaku." A gravelly voice crackled through his neural implant. "Priority Alpha alert. I need all Gadoon pilots suited up and ready for immediate deployment." Gurren was moving before the commander finished speaking, his lean frame eating up the distance to his Gadoon in long, fluid strides. The massive humanoid war machine towered above him. Its dark metal surface gleamed under the harsh hangar lights. At 10 meters tall, a normal Gadoon was an imposing sight. Gurren's Mark 9 stood twice that tall, dwarfing the standard models around it. Gadoons were the pinnacle of planetary combat, mechanized suits built for war. Gadoons were fast, flight-capable, and heavily armed. They had a variety of built-in weapons, and their humanoid shape allowed them to carry and use even more. Gadoons could be outfitted with specialized equipment, could adapt to any terrain, and were strong enough to toss vehicles or even buildings with ease. "Status report." Gurren sub-vocalized through the neural link as he began his rapid ascent up the access ladder. The familiar pre-battle tension coiled in his gut, but his movements remained precise and efficient. "The battle isn't going well," Zaku replied, his tone grim. "No, I'm underselling it. The humans are kicking our butts. A quarter of our defense fleet is gone, and the humans have punched through Sector 7. That's how they were able to land a ground force in the first place." Gurren reached the cockpit and swung himself inside, his body settling into the neural interface cradle with practiced ease. The symbiotic connections activated automatically, spreading through his nervous system like liquid lightning. Through the link, he could feel his squad all going through the same process in their own machines. Getter, Gorg, Jeeg, and Raiden. The four of them plus Gurren were the finest Gadoon fighting force ever assembled. Each of them was a combat ace with over 100 victories on the battlefield. "How bad?" Getter's voice cut in, tight with barely contained aggression. The younger pilot had always been eager for combat, sometimes to the point of recklessness. "Bad enough," Zaku growled. "They've managed to land attack forces on the surface. A lot of attack forces. It's not just infantry either. They've got vehicles, explosives, and heavy weapons. The bastards are moving up the mountain towards Nargon Command Base as we speak." Gurren twitched in surprise as his Gadoon systems came fully online. The humans had gone for a ground invasion. Here, were they stupid? Granted, their void ships had been surprisingly effective. Humans almost exclusively used kinetics and chemical explosives, but the Zephons had not been prepared for the sheer force and accuracy the primitives could bring to bear. But a ground attack? Dozens of species had tried surface assaults in the past. All had failed. The only thing that could face a Gadoon was another Gadoon. The Zephons had them. The humans didn't. It was as simple as that. "They're really trying a ground attack?" Getter echoed what Gurren had been thinking. "Against us? Are they stupid?" "Who cares?" said Gorg. I haven't had any action since that dust-up on Riglak 4. If the humans want to fight, I'm happy to give them one. Don't underestimate them, Zaku snapped. These humans have surprised us at every turn. Their technology may seem crude, but it's not. Their kinetics are just as advanced as our energy weapons, maybe more. Whatever force they've landed, we can be certain it's not to be taken lightly. The commander's words sent an uneasy ripple through the squad's neural link. Gurren could feel their shared tension, the mixture of excitement and apprehension. It didn't matter that they were the best pilots in the Empire, wielding the most advanced Gadoons ever built. Only idiots and mental deviants went into combat without fear. Fear was good. It kept you sharp. Gurren settled deeper into his neural cradle, feeling the familiar rush as his consciousness expanded to encompass the Gadoon's massive form. The machine became an extension of his own body, its enhanced senses flooding his awareness with data. A mix of implants and training allowed the pilot to adjust quickly. Within moments, his own body and senses fell away. There was only the Gadoon. "Status check," he ordered, running through his own systems. "Sound off." One by one, his squad reported ready status. Through the neural link, Gurren could feel their Gadoons powering up around him, massive fusion cores thrumming to life. The deck plates vibrated beneath their feet as weapon systems cycled and joint servos pressurized. Gurren's Mark 9 thrummed with power. His implant let him feel the machine like it was his own body. It made him feel like a god.
"Launching in 60 seconds,"
the hangar control announced.
"All units prepare for combat deployment."
"Stay sharp, people," he transmitted to his squad. "The humans made a big mistake coming here. It's time to show them the error of their ways." "For the Empire! For the Empire!" they responded in unison, their determination flowing through the link. Well, most of them gave off determination. Gorg just felt excited. The man had been praying for a chance to use his Mark 9 since they arrived at the base. It was hard for Gurren to focus against that much undisguised glee. But as the launch countdown began, Gurren couldn't quite shake a nagging sense of unease. The humans had proven consistently unpredictable. The Empire had gone after them expecting a nice, easy conquest, but the primitives had turned out to be far more dangerous than they appeared. No species had stood up to the Gadoons before, but that didn't mean it couldn't be done.
"So, what's the deal, Commander?" Jeeg asked. "Are there any mission parameters aside from destroy all humans?"
"The mission is to protect Nargon Command Base." Commander Zaku's voice cut through the roar of launch thrusters. "We've got 220 high-yield anti-void cannons here, and those cannons are the only reason our defense fleets are holding their own. The humans know it too. Every unit they manage to land is on its way here. If they take out the cannons, we'll lose the battle in the sky. The whole damned planet will fall." Gurren's Gadoon landed with earth-shaking force on the mountainside, massive feet carving deep impressions in the rocky soil. Around him, his squad took up defensive positions, their towering forms casting long shadows in the late afternoon sun.
"The shields on those cannons could withstand orbital bombardment,"
Getter transmitted. His Gadoon's head swiveled to scan the valley below.
"How do they expect to breach them with ground forces?"
"The humans have demonstrated remarkable ingenuity," Zaku replied. Through the neural link, Gurren could sense the commander's frustration. "It could be they've got some weapon we don't know about. Could be they just figure if they get close enough, they'll find a way. Worst case scenario, they're planning to take the base, hack into our controls, and turn the cannons against our own fleet." Gurren processed this as he studied the tactical overlay. Nargon Command Base stood atop a mountain. Infantry troops and gun emplacements were digging in all along the road that led up to it. Gadoons were stomping out of the hangars and moving to support them. The base's defenses were formidable.
Layers of energy shields protected the massive anti-void cannons that kept the human fleet at bay. But if those defenses fell...
All ground forces are being deployed to protect the base, Zaku continued. Standard infantry, heavy weapons, and all available Gadoon units. Your squad will serve as a rapid response force.
Rapid response force?
Jeeg's confusion flowed through the neural link.
Rapid response to what? Those poor bastards probably haven't even seen a Gadoon before. We'll crush them before they get within 10 kilometers of the base.
You can't leave us out of the fight,
Gorg objected.
Come on, Commander. We just got the Mark 9s. Don't tell me I'm not gonna get to use it. What did I say about underestimating the humans?
Zaku's tone carried a sharp edge that made them all pause.
Those bastards and their kinetics have been kicking the crap out of us this entire war. Every time we think we've got them, they pull something out of their butts. The humans aren't stupid, Gorg. They've got sensors. They know we're here. Just because they haven't fought Gadoons before doesn't mean they don't have a plan.
The commander's right, Gurren transmitted to his squad. We've underestimated these humans at every turn. That stops now. He brought his Gadoon to its full height, sensors sweeping the approaches to the base.
So, what?
Jeeg asked.
We're just supposed to hang out here until the humans do something crazy. That's exactly what you're going to do, said the commander. You're our best pilots, piloting our best mechs. When the humans hit us with whatever they've got cooked up, I'm counting on you five to deal with it. Oh, crap,
Gorg muttered. He was probably talking to himself, but the neural link sent it to Gurren anyway.
I'm never gonna get to play with this thing.
Through the neural link, he felt his squad's acknowledgement, tinged with a mix of annoyance, disappointment, and discipline. Below them, the first echoes of battle were beginning to reach their audio sensors. Gurren heard the distinctive thunder of human firearms mixed with the higher-pitched whine of Zephon energy weapons. Gurren himself was starting to feel uneasy. Commander Zaku thought the humans had a trick up their sleeves. So did Gurren. The real question was what that trick was, and when they were planning to pull the trigger. Gurren's Gadoon tightened its grip on its beam rifle. Despite the awesome power of their Gadoons, Gurren couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to go sideways. Gurren watched the humans make their way up the mountain. The bulk of them were riding in large wheeled machines, lightly armored and with no heavy weapons. Escorting the troop transports were smaller machines. The smaller vehicles had thicker armor, and each of them had a manned gun turret at the top. The Zephon infantry was already shooting at them. The humans were shooting back.
They're tearing through our boys, Gorg complained. We should get in there.
Permission denied. Commander Zaku's orders came through with crystal clarity.
Let the other Gadoons deal with the ground troops. It's your job to deal with any unexpected threats the humans might deploy. Your Mark 9s are our most advanced units. We can't afford for you to get bogged down.
As the commander spoke, dozens of standard Gadoons sprinted past Gurren's squad. 10-meter mechs running at 90 kilometers an hour. It was an awesome sight. The humans were about to have a very bad day. Gurren's own massive machine towered over the standard Gadoons deployed around the base perimeter. The Mark 9 was a masterpiece of Zephon engineering, a full 20 meters of advanced alloy and lethal weaponry. Its humanoid form was sleek despite its size, covered in overlapping armor plates that could shrug off most energy weapons. Through the neural link, Gurren could feel every system operating at peak efficiency. The fusion core thrummed with barely contained power. Hydraulic muscles capable of lifting hundreds of tons flexed smoothly. The beam rifle mounted on his right arm could punch through battleship armor, while the left arm's energy shield could deflect even heavy weapons fire.
Get her, Gorg, Gurren ordered. Take high ground positions here and here.
Gurren marked waypoints on their tactical display.
Jeeg, Raiden. Establish firing positions to cover the valley approaches. Watch for flanking maneuvers.
His squad moved with fluid grace despite their enormous size, jet boosters firing in controlled bursts as they took up their positions. The Mark IX's enhanced sensor suite fed Gurren constant updates. He could see movement patterns, thermal signatures, electromagnetic emissions. He watched as the humans finished their skirmish with the lead defenders. The creatures hopped off their wheeled transports, moving up the mountain in disciplined groups. The humans were advancing cautiously, their forces spread out across multiple approach vectors.
This feels wrong,
Getter transmitted through their private squad channel.
Why would they commit to a ground assault? Can't they see the Gadoons coming for them? Don't they know what that means? Perhaps they think they can take them?
Jeeg suggested. He sounded dubious.
Maybe they've got some kind of anti-Gadoon ordinance.
Either that,
Gorg deadpanned, his Gadoons settling into position behind a ridge.
or they're even stupider than we thought.
No. Gurren's response was firm. Commander Zaku is right. They've surprised us too many times. They must have some kind of countermeasure planned. He expanded his sensor range, searching for anything unusual. Keep your eyes peeled. Whatever they're planning, we'll be ready. The Mark IX systems hummed around him as Gurren watched the tactical display. Standard Gadoon units were already engaging the human forces below, their massive forms striding through explosions and weapons fire with impunity. The humans hit them with everything they had, but their kinetics were insufficient to damage a Gadoon. Beam rifles and plasma weapons laid waste to the primitives. The creatures ran and took cover, but they didn't stop fighting. Maybe they really were stupid. No, Gurren decided. The humans had been hit hard, but they weren't panicking. They didn't even seem surprised. Something was off.
Contact!
Jeeg's warning cut through his thoughts.
Multiple human units advancing up the eastern ridge. The 4th and 8th Gadoon squads are moving to engage.
Gadoon watched 10 Gadoons run for the ridge. Rocket-propelled grenades and heavy machine gun fire slammed into them. The Gadoons ignored them. The fight was going well, better than Gurren could have hoped. It made him nervous. There was nothing more suspicious than an easy victory. Gurren could only hope they were truly ready for whatever these unpredictable humans had in store. The standard Gadoons moved like giants through the battlefield, their massive forms easily visible from Gurren's elevated position. Energy weapons lanced out from their arm-mounted cannons, cutting swaths through the human forces below. Projectiles and explosives crashed uselessly against the giant machines. The humans pressed on, their advance methodical despite mounting casualties.
They're already halfway up the mountain,
Getter transmitted, his eagerness bleeding through the neural link.
Let me engage them. We can end this now.
Negative. Gurren kept his tone firm. We maintain position and watch for unexpected threats. That's our mission.
Come on, Gurren,
Gorg wheedled.
If we don't jump in soon, there won't be any humans left to kill.
I said no, Gurren snapped. Through his enhanced sensors, Gurren watched the battle unfold. The regular Gadoon units were performing well, using their superior height and firepower to devastating effect. Human kinetic weapons sparked harmlessly off their armor as the massive machines strode forward, crushing vehicles and defensive positions beneath their feet. The mechs had only entered the fray a few minutes ago, but this fight wouldn't last much longer.
The humans are falling back in sectors 3 and 4,
Raiden reported.
Standard units are pursuing.
Something's wrong. Jeeg's transmission carried an edge of concern.
Their retreat is too organized. They're drawing our forces out.
Gurren zoomed his visual feed on the fighting below. The humans were indeed falling back, but there was nothing panicked about their movement. They maintained fire discipline, their weapons creating overlapping fields of suppression even as they withdrew.
Hold position.
he ordered as Getter's Gadoon shifted restlessly. Commander Zaku tasked us with watching for surprises. The humans are planning something.
Let them plan,
Getter scoffed.
nothing they have can stand against a Mark 9.
Screw that,
Said Gorg.
they should stop planning and do something already. I'm gonna die of boredom out here.
Before Gurren could respond, new alerts flashed across his tactical display. The human forces were adjusting their formation, creating deliberate gaps in their lines. But for what purpose?
Incoming fire,
Jeek warned.
Squads 4 and 8 are gone. Gone?
It was Getter who responded.
What do you mean gone? I mean something blew them up!
Jeek yelled. Confusion, anger, and a hint of fear leaked in through the neural link.
All 10 Gadoons are in pieces.
Gurren panned his sensors to the eastern ridge. Sure enough, he saw the remains of 10 Gadoons. Jeek had been exaggerating about them being blown to pieces, but there was a sizable hole in each of their chests, like something had burrowed into them, then exploded. The Gadoons were down, and their pilots were dead.
What the dross?
Grog swore.
What could do that to a Gadoon?
I don't know, said Gurren, but we need to find out. As soon as he finished his sentence, multiple explosions bloomed among the pursuing Gadoons. A full 20 of the machines were torn open. Gurren stared for a moment. 20 Gadoons, gone in an instant. How?
What was that?
Getter demanded.
What the dross was that?
Gurren's sensors strained to locate the source of the attack, but found nothing. What was hitting them? Orbital bombardment? Some kind of special weapon from the human infantry? Or was it something else? Commander, Gurren transmitted to Zaku. We need... The rest of his transmission was drowned out by fresh explosions as more Gadoons began to fall. The battle was rapidly shifting, and not in their favor.
Droog Scott!
Gorg's transmission was thick with disbelief.
This is Droog Scott. Their weapons shouldn't be able to...
Another explosion cut him off. Then another. And another. Gadoons were being blasted apart everywhere Gurren looked, their armor offering no protection against whatever was hitting them. Through his enhanced sensors, Gurren watched in growing horror as the mighty machines of the Zephon Empire began to fall. The shots were precise, but they didn't need to be. Whatever was tearing into the Gadoons was hitting harder than Gurren's beam rifle could. No one was going to stay functional after taking a hit like that.
What's happening?
Jeek demanded.
What the dross is doing that? Kinetics!
Getter insisted.
It has to be, but from where?
Gurren's tactical systems were struggling to locate the source of the attacks. Whatever the humans were using, it was striking from well beyond the range of any weapon they'd previously encountered. Commander Zaku, Gurren transmitted through his neural link. You seeing this? More Gadoons fell as the mysterious weapons continued their deadly work. The organized advance had turned into chaos as pilots desperately tried to find cover that didn't exist. The mighty war machines of the Zephon Empire were being systematically destroyed by an enemy they couldn't even see. The humans' earlier retreat suddenly made perfect sense. They hadn't been running away. They'd been luring the Gadoons into a kill zone.
I see it, said Commander Zaku. Stand by.
What do you mean, stand by? Gurren demanded. What's destroying our Gadoons? We need targeting data now.
I said, stand by.
Commander Zaku's voice was tight with tension. We're working on it. Through the neural link, Gurren could sense his squad's mounting anxiety as they waited for answers. Gurren raised his energy shield, keeping it between him and the human forces. His squadmates did the same. Some of the standard Gadoons were holding up shields of their own. It wasn't doing them much good. More Gadoons fell to the invisible attackers. The response came seconds later.
Long-range scan complete. The attacks are coming from approximately 80 kilometers away. Kinetic weapons. Some kind of high-velocity projectile launcher. I'm sending the location to your feed.
Gurin's tactical display updated with the new data. The human weapons were positioned behind a set of rolling hills. 80 kilometers was easily within the range of Gurin's guns, but all his weapons fired in a straight line. If he didn't have line of sight, he couldn't hit them. The clever bastards knew that. They'd carefully positioned themselves where they could hit the Zephon forces without fear of retaliation.
How are they hitting anything from there?
Jeek demanded, watching another Gadoon explode.
They don't even have a line of sight. Their kinetics, Jeeg.
Getter sounded like he was rolling his eyes.
They can just lob the things over the hill and let gravity pull them back down to us. The better question is how they're targeting us with such accuracy,
said Raiden.
Guided ordnance, maybe?
Unknown, Commander Zaku admitted. But they're systematically eliminating our ground forces. Those guns need to be neutralized immediately. Through his enhanced sensors, Gurin tracked the trajectory of the incoming fire. Now that he knew what to look for, the rounds weren't that hard to see. They were fast, too fast. The metal shells were packed with explosives, and they were descending towards their targets faster than gravity could account for. Maybe they really were guided. Gurin hadn't seen one miss yet. The Zephon Empire had grossly underestimated human military technology. They had weapons that could punch through Gadoon armor like it was paper. Guns that could adjust for gravity, wind, and friction to land with perfect accuracy from over 80 kilometers away. Commander Zaku had said the humans might be as advanced as the Empire. Gurin was starting to think that was wishful thinking. The technology the bastards were using was beyond anything he could have guessed.
Squad,
Gurin transmitted, his decision made.
Prepare to move out. We've got to take out those guns while we've still got some Gadoons left. Guess it's time to try out the stealth mode,
said Getter.
I hope it works.
Agreed, said Gurin. He used his neural implant to activate the feature. The Empire had been trying to build a proper stealth feature for years, but the Mark IXs were the first to have one. Gurin's Gadoon faded from view as EM manipulators bent the light around him. The manipulators would do the same for heat, radio waves, a bunch of different things. It should make him invisible to sight, radar, and sensors.
Oh, Void,
Gorg rumbled in pleasure.
That's cool as dross.
We can't keep it up for long, Gurin reminded him. In addition to bending electromagnetic radiation, stealth also trapped all the noise, heat, and radiation his Gadoon produced. He could already feel it heating up. If he kept stealth up for more than a minute or two, it would cook him alive.
Move out. We better make this quick.
Gurin activated his jet boosters. His stealth feature struggled to compensate for the burst of fire and propulsion. The temperature in the Gadoon spiked. He was taking a big risk using stealth while in flight, but Gurin didn't see a choice. If those guns kept firing, there would soon be no Gadoons left to defend Nargon Base. Gurin's squad closed the distance quickly. 60 kilometers were covered in just under 20 seconds. The squad flew higher, giving them a view of the weapons behind the hills. Gurin got his first look at the things that were killing his forces. What he saw made no sense. They were vehicles. Crude vehicles. Blocky metal constructs that hugged close to the ground, moving on endless rotating bands of metal links. Each was topped with a long, smooth tube that tracked and adjusted with deadly precision.
Are those?
He could feel Radine frowning through his neural link.
They are. Combustion-powered vehicles. They don't even have fusion cores.
The things were extremely primitive. No energy weapons, no fusion cores, no neural interfaces. Just metal and chemical propellants. They were the kind of things Gurin would expect from a pre-spaceflight civilization, yet they were decimating the pride of the Zephon military with ruthless efficiency.
Those can't be their main weapons,
Getter transmitted in disbelief.
They're so basic.
Gurin's tactical systems told a different story. The human vehicles were primitive. Even the oversized gun tubes at the top were just simple metal. The tech looked laughably simple, but it wasn't. The long tubes of their kinetic launchers could elevate and traverse with surprising speed. The movement was precise. Gurren suspected the targeting systems were even more advanced than his own.
They're just big cars with guns,
said Jeeg.
How are those things killing off our Gadoons?
They're not as basic as they look, said Radine. As he spoke, the long tubes thundered. 20 more Gadoons were about to be blown apart. The rate of fire isn't that fast, though. Once every few seconds. I'm sending a scan back to base. Gurren watched the crude but lethal machines continue their work. They were smaller than Gadoons, but their armor appeared thick, sloped at careful angles. Some had additional armor plates attached, while others bristled with smaller weapons in addition to their main guns. Those things have to be stopped, Gurren declared. Let's move. We'll close in fast and hit them while we're still in stealth.
Agreed,
Getter transmitted eagerly.
Let's show these humans what Mark 9s can really do.
But as Gurren watched more Gadoons explode under the humans' relentless fire, he couldn't shake a creeping sense of doubt. The humans had already surprised them repeatedly. What other surprises did these deceptively simple machines have in store? The Mark 9 squadron flew forward. In a few more seconds, they hung in the air just a few kilometers from the human vehicles, jet boosters holding them aloft. Up close, the primitive machines looked even more antiquated. They were all sharp angles and exposed treads, a far cry from the sleek sophistication of Zephon technology.
This should be within range of our beam rifles,
Jeeg transmitted, his Gadoon's targeting systems locking on to one of the tanks.
Permission to get the party started?
Granted, Gurren replied, but stay alert. These things have already proven more dangerous than they look. Jeeg's beam rifle flashed, the energy blast striking a tank directly. The vehicle's armor glowed red hot, but didn't breach. Before Jeeg could fire again, multiple tanks swung their main guns toward his position with startling speed. The air filled with thunder. Jeeg's Gadoon simply came apart. His massive war machine collapsed in a shower of sparks and twisted metal.
Jeeg!
Gorg shouted.
They got Jeeg!
Evasive action! Gurren shouted through the neural link, but the humans had already shifted their fire. More tanks were turning, their guns swiveling, trying to track him. Could they see through his stealth? The Mark 9 scattered. Gurren kept his shield between them and his Gadoon.
Can they see us?
Getter demanded.
I don't know,
shouted Radine.
They might have found Jeeg by backtracking the shot.
Gurren had never seen anything like it. The tanks moved as one, coordinating their fire with devastating effect. They hit Jeeg's Gadoon again, blasting the huge war mech into tiny chunks. Their primitive kinetic weapons might lack the flash of energy weapons, but their raw destructive power was undeniable.
Evasive maneuvers,
Gurren ordered again, rage and grief from Jeeg's death flooding the neural link.
Don't stay still!
The remaining Mark 9s scattered, their jet boosters leaving trails across the sky. Tank rounds followed them with terrifying accuracy, forcing them to burn more power just to stay alive.
Dross!
Gorg shouted.
They do see us!
No!
Radine corrected him.
It's the boosters! They're tracking our chemtrails! Who cares how they're aiming at us?
Getter's transmission burned with fury.
They killed Jeeg! These guys are dead! Getter, no!
Gurren could feel Getter's plan through the link.
Don't rush in!
Getter ignored Gurren's warning. His Mark 9 dove straight for the vehicles, beam rifle blazing. A single shot wasn't enough to pierce their armor, but multiple hits were enough to do the trick. He managed to destroy 3 of them before concentrated fire found him. His Gadoon's leg vanished in an explosion, sending him spinning out of control. More rounds struck home. Getter's death stream cut off abruptly in the neural link. Gurren, Gorg, and Radine counterattacked. They kept their distance, flying as fast as their boosters would allow. Their beam rifles rained fire on the human vehicles, but the bastards were on the move now. They couldn't match the speed of a flying Gadoon, but they were pushing 80 kilometers an hour and swerving wildly. The vehicles were still taking hits, but it was a lot harder to hit the same place twice, and that was the only way to punch through their armor. Worse, they were shooting back, accurately. They caught Ray Dean first, precision shots literally dismantling his Gadoon piece by piece. Gorg lasted another 30 seconds before a round penetrated his cockpit. Gurren was all that was left. His Mark IX wove through the air desperately, but he knew it was hopeless. He managed to take out 2 more before his luck ran out. A round clipped his leg, sending his Gadoon into an uncontrolled spin. Warning alerts flashed his neural interface as more hits found their mark. Gurren tucked his energy shield close, covering his cockpit. It saved his life, but it wasn't enough to save his Gadoon. The humans blasted it apart. Gurren's neural link cut out as the damage overwhelmed his nervous system. He was unconscious before his ruined war machine hit the ground.
Got another one!
Lance Corporal Fuller called out as the last Mark IX crashed to the ground. The loader's hands were already moving, sliding another round into the breach with practiced efficiency.
I think that's the last of them.
Good shooting, Sergeant Stein acknowledged from the gunner's position, his eyes never leaving the sight. Let's get back in the fight. There are still plenty of those standard models near the base. Private First Class Johns adjusted their course slightly, the tank's treads eating up the rough terrain with ease.
Giant robots, he said, grinning. I can't believe we get to fight giant robots. I feel like a superhero. I always wanted my own giant robot,
Fuller mused as he secured the ammo rack.
Ever since I was a kid. Well, blowing one up is almost as good, right?
Johns laughed, checking their position relative to the other tanks in their formation.
It's funny, you know,
Fuller mused.
Big mechs are damn near unstoppable in the cartoons. Tanks are useless against them.
Can we focus, please? Stein ordered sharply. Battle's not over yet. Those Gadoons aren't going to destroy themselves.
No, Sergeant, they are not.
Fuller's hands were already moving to load another round.
I'm just saying, it's kind of unreal. Tank beats giant robot?
Tank beats everything, Johns declared confidently as he maneuvered them into a new firing position.
I could do this all day.